Following their most successful swing through the American League East, the Rays return home to Tropicana Field tonight, and they will open an interleague matchup as the Rays host the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rays now a half game in front in the American League East. They started that road trip 2.5 back. They're up by a half game on Boston, 5 in front of third place Baltimore. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tropicana Field on an evening of Rays baseball. With Brian Anderson, I'm Dwayne Stats. Todd Callis along in just a few moments. Good to have you with us here tonight. Well, the Rays could not have asked for a better start to the mythical second half of the year. A 10-game road trip through the East. They go 8-2.
I mean, you couldn't have written a better script. You knew it was going to be a big series coming out of the All-Star break. You're going to go to Toronto, Boston, New York. Little did you know they'd have to go back to Boston to finish off the trip. But look what they were able to do. 8-2. They're scoring enough runs, clutch runs, 4.5 a game. But the pitching is really what led the way. The starters were outstanding. You see their ERA, the 3 complete games. David Price with 3 wins on that trip. The bullpen threw the ball very well. And the one thing that never seems to take a day off for the Rays is the defense. And boy, did that come in big last night in the finale. That big throw by Sam Fuld that culminated in that 8-2 road trip. So as good a start as you can imagine. Now they come back home for a couple of interleague games and try to keep the mojo going.
Yeah, now the Rays are home for 5 interleague games. They are 9-1 against National League teams. Arizona, the first club in here. And when you think of the Diamondbacks offense, it really begins and ends with their 25-year-old slugging first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
My man, Paul Goldschmidt. This is the guy, I guarantee you, that Jim Hickey, when he sits down the pitchers, he says, this guy does not beat us. And you can see the National League ranks. He does everything for this team. 23 home runs. Look at the runs batted in. 85 runs batted in. That leads the National League. Great slugging percentage, and for a team that has not been very successful in the running game and doesn't run that much, he also leads the team in stolen bases with 10. He's 10 out of 12. So this is the focus of that Rays pitching staff. They've got to nullify Paul Goldschmidt.
And you can see home and away, he is lethal with a bat in his hand. He is not the guy the Rays want to give an opportunity to beat them tonight. Offense good, pitching great, and the defense outstanding for the Rays. Todd Callis takes a look at the Rays D when we return.
take on the Arizona Diamondbacks in the first of a quick 2-game series. Everybody talks about the pitching, and rightfully so, during this amazing run by the Rays. And the offense has been good, about the same as it's been all year long. The defense, though, nobody's been talking as much about the defense. It should be mentioned numerous times, including in last night's 2-1 victory against the Red Sox. He had that great play by Ben Zobrist, Evan Longoria, deep to the backhand. And who will ever forget this behind-the-back double play started by Yunel Escobar to Ben Zobrist with a bare hand with David Price on the mound. And then Sam Fold capped it off with this throw home to get the runner and save a 2-1 victory for the Rays. Joel Peralta knows that this defense is so important, and it's been there all year long.
It's been great. I mean, to me, it's been the whole season like that, because when we were struggling, bullpen and pitching, starting pitching, we're struggling. The defense was always there, and hitting sometimes, come down, but the defense is always there. And lately it's been so good that, help us, win these games.
All around the horn, you just look at all of our guys defensively. We're playing at that level that brought us to postseason deeply in the past, and I think could do it again. Everybody's really mentally sharp right now on defense.
As B.A. mentioned a moment ago, the Rays have been bringing the D each and every day, and we're ready for baseball. 2 minutes and 42 seconds. It's Roberto Hernandez on the mound for the Rays. Ian Kennedy on the mound for the Diamondbacks. We'll have all the action right around the corner here on Sunsport.
In style last night at Fenway, with David Price dominating the Red Sox once again. And Super Sam Fold showing off his arm, gunning down Daniel Nava at the plate to get the Rays out of the 8th inning. And Fernando Rodney slammed the door in a 2-1 win. Tonight, the Rays return home as the leaders in the American League East. Rays off that remarkable road trip, and the game last night in Boston come home to meet the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight. The beginning of this 5-game stay at home. Take a quick look at the starting lineup for Arizona, brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarkets. Gerardo Parra is going to lead it off, followed by Aaron Hill, and Paul Goldschmidt hits third. Eric Chavez, Martin Prado, then Jason Kubel. Will Nieves hits 7th. He'll catch. Adam Eaton in center, and Cliff Pennington, the shortstop, will bat 9th.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Roberto Hernandez making his 20th start of the season. His season numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida, looking to continue what he has done against the National League. 2-0 record against National League foes with a 1.23 earned run average. Looking for some of that tonight.
And the first pitch of this game drops in there for a strike. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. Slider to start this game from Roberto Hernandez. And in with strike 2. Follows that up with a fastball, 0-2.
Well, when we've seen Roberto Hernandez at his best, he gets the ball, throws the ball. Not a lot of wasted time like this. Very good tempo, quick rhythm, right after hitters.
In a bit. It's 1-2. Parra, 26 years old, out of Venezuela. Already a Gold Glove winner in the outfield. Count holds at a ball and 2 strikes. Kirk Gibson in his 4th season as the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, the manager of the year in 2011. Diamondbacks won 94 games that year, and last year finished at 500, 81 and 81.
A little bit of a faltering by the pitching staff last year led to what turned out to be a mediocre season in Arizona.
And that one brushes Parra, hit by a pitch. And just like that, the Diamondbacks have a base runner.
You know, we've seen Roberto Hernandez do that on a number of occasions, and so often it's with 2 strikes. And right here, he's trying to throw that front door sinker, started in off the plate, had the hitter freeze on it, catch the inside corner, and he just yanked it a little too far.
And as a result, he's hit 10 batters this year. He's not hunting for that. He's, as you point out, trying to start that pitch in and have it come back, and if it doesn't, sometimes it breaks right into the hitter.
He's done that a number of times to right-handed hitters where he'll try to run one in on a guy and it just takes off.
Aaron Hill takes a strike. Rays remember him from his days in the American League with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he's had some success swinging the bat against the Rays while wearing a Blue Jays uniform, and now with the Diamondbacks. Base hit up the middle, line drive off a fastball. That sends Parra to second. 2 men on with nobody out.
Well, that's the thing about Aaron Hill. He's well suited to that number 2 hole. He's got very quick hands, and you see it right there. Doesn't try to do too much. He gets the ball out over the plate and just quick to the ball. Boom. Right down and through it, right over the head of Hernandez, and a quick start here for the Diamondbacks.
But just like that, 2 men on with nobody out for Paul Goldschmidt. And he pretty much leads this team in everything offensively. 23 home runs. He's 4th in the league in that department and leads the National League in runs batted in with 85. Pitch is down.
You can see Goldschmidt has a little bit of a crouch in his stance, and he likes to come up and through the baseball and really drive it. Obviously very good power, as we saw there, and productive with the numbers. You see the breakout in the National League RBI race.
Ground ball second, scooped by Zobrist. Escobar 1, Loney 2, and over to third goes Parra. Nicely done on the sharply hit ball.
Well, the last thing you want to see is Goldschmidt coming up with guys in scoring position. First and second, nobody out. But when you have Roberto Hernandez on the mound, very adept at getting the ground ball, so that's always in play. He gets one here, and the Rays convert.
It's the 11th double play turn behind Hernandez this year. Back in his glory seasons, probably 07 the best, he had 32 double plays turned behind him. So 2 outs with a man in third. We have some thunderstorms going on in the area, and we've lost a little bit of the candle power here. bank or two of the lights hit by that last thunderclap and lightning. Pitch to Eric Chavez is a strike.
Yeah, it's right over top of us. It's right on top of us.
Pitch inside. Parra bluffing a start down the line at third base. 2 outs and 1-1 to Chavez. See some of the lost light banks right there. Ground ball, first base. That's Loney stepping on the bag to retire the side. The man left. No runs. We go to the bottom of the first. Rays coming in to hit. Snow score. Lineups presented by Sweet Base Supermarkets. Desmond Jennings leads off, then Vince Zobrist and Evan Longoria. James Loney, Will Myers, and Luke Scott down the middle, with Matt Joyce hitting 7th in front of Jose Molina and then Yunel Escobar.
Taking the mound tonight for the Arizona Diamondbacks going to be right-hander Ian Kennedy, and you can see his numbers right there. 21st start of the season. His numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
First pitch, a cut and a miss, strike one.
You can see Ian Kennedy just 3-7 on the year through the 20 starts, a .522 earned run average. Been a struggle, especially lately. Has not had a win since defeating the Cubs in Chicago. That was back on June the 1st.
The Rays had success against him when he was over in the American League, originally with the New York Yankees. Pretty much had their way with him. 1-1 the count. Cut the miss. And after a couple of very good years in Arizona, this year has not worked out so well, particularly as of late.
Yeah, the last 9 starts, his record 0-4. The team record in that span is 1-8.
And a foul ball straight back and out of play.
And this is a guy back in 2011 who won 21 games. 21-4 with a 2.88.
And last year, a 15-game winner. Here we go. Line drive, base hit in the center. Eaton to his right to cut it off. Jennings going to go for 2. He is in there. The throw off line. Aggressive base running by Desmond Jennings, running that into 2.
Let me tell you something right now. That is top notch by Desmond Jennings, because that is a routine single for just about everybody in the game of baseball. Nothing special about this. It wasn't deep in the gap. But look at Desmond turn it on. You talk about setting a tone and sending a message. First at-bat of a series. This is a base hit. This is it. But he sees pulled over to the right center field side. And he gets aggressive, and it pays off. That's outstanding base running by Desmond.
Well, it gives Ben Zobrist an opportunity with a man in scoring position. Base hit into center for Zobrist. Jennings waved around. He will score, and the Rays take an early 1-0 lead. Double by Jennings, RBI single by Zobrist, and the Rays are out in front.
Now, apparently getting in at whatever, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning has not affected these guys at all. Talk about coming to play. They know that Ian Kennedy has been struggling. He wants to throw strikes, get ahead of hitters, and he's not overpowering. And when you're not overpowering, you got to stay away from this area, up in the zone. Ben all over it.
There's Evan Longoria. First pitch is a strike. Evan starting the homestand. Coming off the road trip with an 11-game hitting streak. The breaking ball is down. 1-1. Curveball around 78. When the Rays saw him with the Yankees, he threw a curveball that sometimes would be sub-70. Really off speed, 68, 69 miles per hour.
That's his game. I mean, that's what he needs to do. You've seen the fastball right around 90, and it's not a fastball with a ton of movement. Pretty straight and true fastball. So you're going to have to change speeds, move the ball around the zone, try to keep hitters off balance. And that's one way that he'd try and do it, is change the speed on the curveball to go with that changeup. He'll cut it, and the straight fastball.
Fouls it into the screen. James Loney is on deck. And Loney, from his time in the National League, has had great success against Kennedy. And a cleanup tonight for the Rays. Longoria waiting for the next 1-2 delivery. It's fouled out of play.
That was a really nice job there, I think. You know, Evan Longoria on that pitch, trying to surprise him in. Kennedy got it to a pretty good spot. Evan was able to spoil it to buy himself another opportunity.
Foul ball, that one deflecting off Davis into the backstop. So Evan down on the count has managed to extend this at bat to at least 7 pitches. This pitch coming being number 7. And another foul ball out of play.
Well, that was that cut fastball, and Longoria was all over that one. That stayed out over the plate. He had a good rip and a 2-strike cutter. This ends up, oof. You know, that right there is like a hanging slider.
It almost hovered out over the plate.
Great description.
Ground ball, third base. Prado with the throw to second. They're going to get the force on Zobrist, and a nice play by Prado that turned the ground ball into a fielder's choice.
Yes, it was. Prado ranging to his left on that ground ball hit by Evan. See the jump, the dive, and really only one play at this point. And it gets made.
One out now with Longoria at first, and James Loney, 6 out of 13 in his career against Kennedy with a home run. About to step in. Loney carries with him. The 5th leading average in the American League, hitting .317. And a good take on the pitch down, off speed. Season for Kennedy and the Diamondbacks, really counting on him as a big part of their rotation. Those 21 wins 2 years ago and 15 last year, making him the biggest winner in the National League over the last 2 seasons. Oh! 2-1, a fastball in. Will Myers on deck. Pitch down. So the Rays very selective here with Ian Kennedy. And Loney is up in the count 3-1.
That's one thing that he has struggled with this year is the walk. 45 walks coming into this ball game. He walked in the last 2 years, 55 in each year, well over 200 innings.
There's a shot, well tagged, Eaton back. That ball's got some carry, going to be off the wall. Longoria rounding third. The throw to the plate will come through. It is not in time. He got in there ahead of the tag on the double by Loney, and it's 2-0 Tampa Bay.
Now the tag came up the body, and Evan Longoria able to slip the legs in. This ball, first of all, was tagged by James Loney. He takes a shot here. Look at that ball. Center cut, middle of the plate. Loney drills this ball off the wall, and then a nice job here by the Diamondbacks in getting it in. Strong throw, good relay to the plate. Watch the high tag. Tag comes up high on the thighs of Evan Longoria. The legs are already in there.
And Will Myers helping Ron Culpa with the call. And here is Will in the batter's box right now.
Yeah, and that's not something that we've seen, or actually I should say that we have seen it before, where the on-deck hitter is not where he needs to be. Loney gets snipered at second. He's got to retreat. But Longoria and Will Myers right on top of the play, helping out the umpire, helping out Evan.
To strike to Myers. 2. Will with a 10-game hitting streak. 19 out of 41 in that 10-game streak. That figures out to a .463 average. A ball, 2 strikes. 28-year-old right-hander Ian Kennedy. 51 runs batted in now for Loney. The double is 23rd of the season. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Luke Scott will follow Myers. And Myers out on strikes. Out in front of the off-speed pitch, changed up on it.
Well, we haven't seen too many of those, if any, from Ian Kennedy as the changeup. And here, 2 strikes. He throws it right out over the plate. Good late finishing action. That was a nice pitch, and it gets Will Myers to expand his zone. Out number 2.
Rays down to the designated hitter, Luke Scott. Pitch is a strike. Off speed again. It's time to start the at bat for Scott.
Kennedy right now trying to find something that works. Back-to-back changeups.
Popped it up. It's Hill from second base, making the catch, and the Rays are finished in the first. They pick up 2. The inning set up on the hustle of Desmond Jennings. Hustle that one into a double. Zobrist single home run, and Loney double home another one. 2-0 Tampa Bay.
After 1 inning of play, let's take a quick look at their defense as it lines up. In the outfield, left to right, Joyce, Jennings, and Myers. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Molina will be behind the plate.
Martin Prado leads off the second. First pitch is a ball. Prado hitting .263. He's been a quality major league player with Atlanta up until this year. Strike around the knees. He had a little over 300 for the Braves a year ago. Hit 10 home runs. Two balls and a strike. Jason Kubel, the former American leaguer, is on deck. Puts Hernandez down on the count, 3-1. Just with the off speed. Big chop to Zobrist at second, and the toss to first. That's one away. Here's Kubel. Look at Kubel's numbers against Roberto Hernandez.
That right there is Minnesota Twin v. Cleveland Indian.
Pitch is a strike. Kubel with 5 home runs this year, hitting .234 right now. 4 for his last 39 over the last week and a half to 2 weeks. Far and away the biggest threat in this lineup in terms of history against Hernandez. 1-2. Cliff Pennington, the shortstop, who's been swinging a pretty good bat lately, is a lifetime 300 hitter off Hernandez. He's hitting 9th. Kubel out of the 6th spot in Gibson's lineup. And he is out on strikes out in front. Nice pitch right there by Roberto Hernandez to pick up strikeout number 1.
Well, that was Roberto Hernandez changeup. That's a pitch that has really, you see the grip, he goes to it right there and gets that good late action on it. That has been a pitch that has been encouraged by the Rays pitching coach Jim Hickey, that Roberto Hernandez go to, and he has gone to it more this year than at any point in his career. That's a dandy there.
That's his primary secondary pitch now.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. And you know what? It makes sense because his slider is not a big breaker. It's not a tight, sharp, late slider. You know, and doesn't throw the curveball. So fastball changeup. Listen, it works for Hellickson.
And that's
for a lot of guys
that Hickey was talking about as far back as spring training, watching Hernandez work. Nieva is out short to first. A 1-2-3 second. Rays lead 2-0.
League standings have shifted since the Rays have been out of town. They were 2.5 games back going into the All-Star break. They go 8-2 on the road trip. Our AT&T Twitter poll question: with that Rays doing so well on the road trip, 8-2, that emotional win last night against the Red Sox, were you concerned about a letdown today? Hashtag TB1 yes, hashtag TB2 no. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. Here's Joe's thoughts on the matter. We'll hear from him right after this pitch by Ian Kennedy. 1-0 pitch as a strike. Here's Joe's thoughts.
And our guys are really mentally in a good place right now, and they know what's at stake. And furthermore, Arizona is a very good ball club. Giants happen to be world champs, so you can't take any of that for granted. Looking at Arizona's names, I really like a lot.
power delay related to the storm in the area. We had a little flicker in the first inning. And here in the bottom of the second, with Matt Joyce leading off, leadoff hitter in the bottom of the frame with a 2-1 count. We've lost partial power, and the lights will take a few moments to recycle and then fully illuminate. So the Rays with a 2-run first have a 2-0 lead, and right now waiting out this power delay. Let's go to the field and check in with Todd Callis for a little more information on this delay. Todd?
Yeah, Dwayne, we've seen this occasionally throughout the years here at Tropicana Field, where the stadium would take a power hit or the substation would take a power hit. And we saw surges in the first couple of innings. You guys probably noticed it on a ground ball to the right side where it kind of dimmed down. But then obviously things were knocked out of the banks here. And so right now we're waiting for the lights to cool down and then to come back up. Normally that process, once you see the little blue light in the beginning of the process, that means you've got about 15 more minutes till they get to full power. So we're at least at a 15-minute delay. And once those lights start to come on, you'll see a very light blue light. And once that happens, at that point, you've got another 15 minutes. So rare, it's been a few years, but it has happened before where the Rays are in a delay inside Tropicana Field. But that's the latest from down here, guys.
All right, a very technical explanation of what we have in store before we resume play here at Tropicana Field. Joe Madden talking about the possibility, or at least addressing the question of maybe a letdown after that great road trip. And you see Desmond Jennings right there in the Rays dugout in the shot just before. If there was any question about that, that was dispelled right from the very beginning when Desmond singled up the middle and turned this one into a double.
There's no question about it. You talk about setting the tone, and that would lead to a very productive first inning for the Rays. After that double, Ben Zobrist wasted no time getting on top of that fastball up. That gave the Rays a quick early 1-run lead, and then Loney leaned into this pitch off the wall, almost got it out of here. And Longoria made a nice slide here at the plate to get under the tag of Will Nieves, and that was your 2 runs. Quick first inning for the Rays. And now, Dwayne, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go back to watch Bugs Bunny try to make a comeback here against the Gas House Gorillas.
Yeah, speaking of versatility, Bugs is playing every position at this very moment. We'll be back. The Rays are up 2-0. Power delay, back in a moment. The Rays jumping to a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Rays currently leading the Boston Red Sox by a half game in the American League East. Boston home tonight. They're playing host to the Seattle Mariners. It's Brandon Workman on the hill for Boston tonight. The rookie right-hander, Saunders. Joe Saunders doing the pitching for the Mariners. And the Mariners got a run in the first inning to take a 1-0 lead. But Boston right back with the tying run scoring there. Shane Victorino crossing the plate, and then Ortiz with a base hit to left, driving in the second run as Pedroia crossed the plate. That gave the Red Sox a 2-1 lead. Mariners did not score in the top of the second, and so Boston bats in the bottom, holding that same 2-1 lead. It's the way the AL East stacks up right now. The Rays up by half over Boston, 5 in front of the Orioles. The New York Yankees running fourth. They're 7.5 back and 14.5 off the pace. In the basement, the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Rays coming off this great road trip to begin the second half. A lot of questions about that second half. You know, starting, the Rays had 10 more road games than home games, and they've adjudicated themselves pretty well. BA taking care of that home and road deficit now. From here on out, same number of road games as home games.
Yeah, what is that, 28 and 28, and the way that they came out, you know, they finished the first half so strong, and the worry was, well, now you take 4 days off. Is that going to hurt their momentum, the rhythm that they had built up, winning 14 out of the last 16? And then all of a sudden, by the way, not only do you have those 4 days off, but then you come out against American League East teams on the road where everybody can set their rotation like they want it. Obviously, the Rays could do the same thing, but you knew it was going to be big. And then to make it a 4-city trip as opposed to 3, having to go back to Boston and finish up 8-2 in the manner in which they did last night, I don't think that you could have predicted or desired or wanted more than that kind of a start coming out of the second half. And then you see it bleed over into tonight's game with that quick first inning.
Well, as impressive as the run up to the All-Star break was, the Rays were still 4 games under 500 inside the American League East when they started that road trip. That was the question facing this ball club. Could the Rays play well enough, particularly on the road inside the division, to turn that trend around? And the answer was a resounding yes. They now have a winning record inside their own division as a result of what they did during this swing to the American League East.
Well, you see the record and the runs, the starter ERA, the complete games. The bullpen was good. They continued to catch the ball. You know what it has been? Is Joe Madden about midway through that stretch, you know, against the White Sox and the Twins and the Astros, he said, listen, I've heard about that this is the weak part of the schedule and we need to take advantage of it. We're worried about ourselves. In other words, he challenged his team and his players, do your job. Everybody take care of their own business and we'll be fine no matter who we play. Well, that challenge has been answered. It has been taken on, and that's exactly what's happened here. They've taken care of their own business up and down this team in all aspects, and they had an 8-2 trip.
Yeah, you know, BA, you and I have been around this game collectively long enough to have seen situations where managers have said that. Clubs have given plenty of lip service to say, we're not looking ahead.
Yeah.
You know, we're not playing up or down to our opponent in a given game or a given series. I'm not sure that I've ever seen a team that has lived that the way this team has.
No, and you know what? They feed, listen, every team, no matter what kind of star power you may have, what kind of money guys make, what kind of egos they may have, at the end of the day, the team collectively will typically take on the personality of its leader. And right now, Joe Madden's so laid back. He pushes the right buttons. He pushes these guys when he needs to. He challenges them in creative ways. And this is a young team. It's got a lot of young guys that are like sponges. They're just soaking everything up, and they answer these challenges each and every time. And Joe Madden just kind of manipulates them across the board. They go out. They've taken on his personality. That's why you see them able to succeed in tight spots. They never get, they never get frazzled or get out of the moment. They just stay kind of chill and in the moment, and they succeed more times than not. And that's what we're watching, and that's why they're performing like they are.
We're chatting away like this because we're in the bottom of the second inning, a power delay related to the storm in the area. And so we're still a few moments away from resuming play. We have started to see some of the lights return. Just a matter of them getting back to full strength, and then we'll resume play just a few moments away from picking up play again here in the bottom of the second, with the Rays leading Arizona 2-0. That's the way to spend the delay right there. Back in a moment. Is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Coventry Healthcare. Coverage so you can keep living the life you want. Go live. We've got you covered. Storm starting to pass through here in the Tropicana Field area. The lights starting to return to full brightness. And the Diamondbacks have returned to the field. Ian Kennedy taking some warm-up tosses before play resumes with Matt Joyce at the plate. Matt had worked a 2-1 count against Kennedy. Rays got a couple of runs off him in the bottom of the first. Well, we know where the Rays are in first place in the East. The Diamondbacks, who'd spent a considerable amount of time in first place this year in the National League West, now find themselves chasing the red-hot Los Angeles Dodgers. They're 2.5 behind the Dodgers. And here's Joyce all set to get back to play. The fastball is fouled back. So a 20-minute delay here between pitches.
That's why it's so important for the Diamondbacks that Ian Kennedy get back on the winning track. I mean, this is a big start for him. And there's talk of Trevor Cahill getting ready to come off the disabled list. Brandon McCarthy coming off.
Yeah,
talks
probably
about
within a week.
Yeah, and then you have now word coming out that the Diamondbacks could be major players in the potential Jake Peavy sweepstakes, trying to bolster that pitching staff to keep pace with the Dodgers, because the Dodgers kind of floundered the first couple of months of the season, and they have just kicked it into high gear. And the Diamondbacks know they're going to have to pitch if they're going to stay within striking distance of that LA team.
3-2 and a cut and a miss. Changeup. Joyce is down on strike. Strikeout number 2 for Kennedy, and both have come on a changeup.
Well, there it is again. That's going to become a big pitch, you feel, for Ian Kennedy. Stayed away from it for a while until the Rays jumped out to that 2-0 lead, but then he started to go to it. Been a pretty good pitch so far.
Jose Molina will bat. One away in the bottom of the second. Pitch is a strike. The Rays coming off the great road trip, 8-2, and the exciting conclusion to the game, the makeup game last night in Boston. Roller to second. Nita is out number 2. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. We know that our numbers have been very good, and we certainly appreciate that. And we are pleased to have a special viewer in our audience tonight, in our TV audience. We have kept in touch with him before. Joe Gugino, a great Rays fan, a loyal Rays fan, and 103 years old. His birthday actually is tomorrow, but we wanted to wish him a happy birthday tonight because tomorrow he's going to spend some time, as he does every Wednesday, with the Tampa Community Band.
Come on.
Rehearsing.
Come on.
He takes his clarinet over there and rehearses with them every Wednesday.
Okay.
So we're going to suggest that he get the MLB TV app, and then he can take that to band rehearsal with him, and even watch those nights between the rehearsal numbers. But 103, and Joe, an old railroad man, way to go. Keep going.
103 and in a band.
And rooting for the Rays every day.
But then there's hope. I like that. 103.
Yeah.
103. Because Dwayne, listen, I'm supposed to get to 105.
Well,
that's the cutoff, and it's nice to know that you can be still going strong at 103. Some change.
Well, I got a sneak peek. They sent me a photo of his birthday present. It's an exercise bike, and he was on it. I mean, getting after it. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's great.
And ball 4, Escobar draws the walk. So, Joe, happy birthday. And we'll be looking forward to you following the Rays right down the wire here, because it appears that's what's going to happen over the next 2 months plus in the American League East. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it was last night and on that entire road trip. The Rays home for 5 here. Now Desmond Jennings. Escobar aboard with 2 outs. Keeping an eye on Escobar over there. Not a lot of stolen base activity with Kennedy on the mound this year. Only a couple of attempts.
Big reason why right there. Very, very quick to the plate. And overall, the Arizona staff has done a good job of controlling the running game. Diamondback catchers also. Their pitching coach, Charles Nagy, longtime Cleveland Indian.
It's a foul ball that dislodges the mask of Nieves. Everything's all right. You take a shot like that, I'm not sure how valid any opinion would be. Sure, I'm fine. I'm okay. Yeah. Just answer the phone, would you? Wow. Did you see Nieves, his first reaction? Not to find the mask or to put it back on. Give me a new baseball.
Let me get a ball into my pitcher's hand.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, an old school reaction and an old school look. It doesn't have that, the hockey mask that a lot of catchers have gone to.
Three balls and a strike. Desmond draws the walk. So with 2 outs, a couple bases on balls, and the Rays have a little threat now.
Again, this is part of Ian Kennedy's game that has really plagued him this year, and what has been a struggle is the increase in the number of walks. He gets 2 quick outs. He's going to walk the 9-hole Escobar, then yanks a couple of more pitches and walks Desmond Jennings, and the Rays have another chance.
We'll talk it over quickly on the mound in the game tonight and all season. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Ben Zobrist drove in a run with a base hit in the first. He bats here in the second inning. It's too low. Off speed to start Zobrist. Takes the pitch down again. Back-to-back changeups, and Zobrist not offering.
Hey, Dwayne, I'm getting a couple of requests here for us to push for Joe and his band at Ray's Summer Concert Series next year.
Oh, wow.
He's 104.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great idea. There's a line drive into center field. Eaton is there to make the catch. That's going to retire the Rays in the second. We're going to have to work on that. 2-0 Rays.
A quick 2-game series. So much talk about that game last night. The guys on Twitter afterward. Matt Moore put out a tweet stroking a couple of his teammates who did beautifully last night. First of all, he said, "What a game, the legend of Sam Fuld with a cannon." Matt went on to comment on the dominance of David Price, saying he's in full control. A note for you on Fuld, when he plays, the Rays are now 53-25. That's a personal win percentage of .679. The best of any player in Major League Baseball. Pretty good, guys.
Sam, a major part of last night's excitement, and here's another look. Getting in great position to unleash this throw.
Well, the thing that was great about the throw is he didn't try to airmail it and get it there on a fly. He threw it hard with a lot of velocity and let it bounce. Nice pickup by Molina, and the Red Sox frustrated.
So we go to the third. Adam Eaton leads off. Pitch is too low. Eaton hitting .204. And a nice change up there. It's 1-1. Roberto comes in 5-11 with a .492 earned run mark coming into this game, making his 20th start of the season. Ahead of Eaton with Cliff Pennington due next, and then the top of the order. There's Pennington on deck. And strike three. Got the fastball in there and caught him looking.
That is the pitch he wanted to Gerardo Parra when he hit him. He wants to start this ball in off the plate, freeze the hitter, let it run back to the corner. Executed very well.
But a nice series of pitches there. The first three pitches down around the knees, and then to run that one in and have it come back. Pennington takes a strike. Pennington, the former Oakland A, he had some big hits against the Rays in an Oakland uniform.
He's been swinging a hot stick for the Diamondbacks too, coming out of the break.
Up to second base, Zobrist with the pickup. So 2 up and 2 down, and we'll go back to the top side of the order. Parra will be up there.
I'll tell you what, after that emotional victory last night, you couldn't have asked for a better start for Roberto Hernandez and the Rays today. Give him an early lead and then allow him now to try to get aggressive with these Diamondback hitters and use his defense. That's when he's at his very best.
He hit Parra to start the game. Soon found himself up there with a couple of men on base after Hill singled, but he got the double play ball out of Paul Goldschmidt. Ron Culpa is calling the balls and strikes tonight. A 15-year veteran of Major League umpiring out of St. Louis. He went to school at Missouri Baptist College. The chop down to first. Loney unassisted. 3 up, 3 down. Evan Longoria will lead off the bottom of the third when the Rays come in to hit. Rays lead 2-0. To face Ian Kennedy, and he's after the first pitch, a changeup, and he missed it. We've seen that pitch a little more often here in the early stages of this game from Kennedy. to straightaway center. Eaton will go to the track, to the wall, leaps, and he makes the catch. He had about a foot left before he slammed into the fence out there in straightaway center in Longoria. A long out to start the bottom of the third.
The Rays looking to add to their lead, and Longoria gives this quite the ride. Ball off the bat with a big part of the field.
James Loney takes a high fastball. Rays scored 2 in the first. Zobrist drove in a run. Loney drove in a run with a double. Rays had a couple men on base in the second on walks and left them on. Change up way high. 2-0. Number back to the hill. Kennedy takes care of that. 2 outs. Tonight's game available in Spanish via SAP. Brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. Will Myers struck out on a changeup his first time. Hits again in the third. Had a single and a walk last night in Boston. Got a run home on a fielder's choice. And a base hit right back through the middle. That ball skipped in front of the bag at second and on through into center to extend his hitting streak to 11.
He hit a sinker. He hit a sinker up the middle. And the pitch was a breaking ball off speed. But this ball had so much movement on it going back up the middle. This ball was scorched. And that's what he will do. I'll tell you what, when he's on time with everything and that ball hits the barrel of the bat, it just comes off so hot.
Says he hasn't cut or combed his hair all season.
God bless him.
He looks good. Luke Scott takes a strike.
You know that I'm jealous. That's just a given. Well, good. Here's the deal. He keeps going like he is. The team keeps going well. By the time you get into the postseason, he's going to look like a lead singer for an 80s hair band.
Everybody on the team will start trying to do the same thing. 1-1 to count.
Instead of playoff beards, you have playoff hair.
Yeah.
That playoff big hair.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
No cut, no comb. Just go for it. It's working out, an 11-game hitting streak and a great start and what promises to be a great career.
Speaking of hair and facial hair.
Yeah.
Well, the guy at the plate, rat tail, chops.
And a shot into right field, well tagged. Oh, Parra makes the catch, reaching up as he raced toward the corner. A fine defensive play on that hard hit line drive off the bat of Luke Scott. We're through 3. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay as Parra robs Luke Scott. Our Wendy's, now that's better. Take a look at the Rays and where they stack up in July. Since 1900, the second highest winning percentage so far. As Aaron Hill takes a strike, the 41 Yankees were 25-4. The Rays 20-4 in July, and the 45 Cubs, when they went to the World Series that year and played the Tigers in 1945, they were 26-6. And the Rays, with this game left in July, and one tomorrow.
Now, Dwayne, going back to that Cub team, if my math is correct, that's 32 games in 31 days. That's a busy month.
Yes, it was. It's back when men were men. Played every day, and a couple of games, at least on one of those days.
Finally, it's you.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now I finally have you calling people out.
It's another day, let's play.
Well, you know
and
what?
Playing in wool uniforms.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about that?
Summer heat.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's what the Rays are going to do in September. When that calendar rolls over, a lot of off days in August, but in September they have 1.
Yeah, and I thought Joe Madden, there's a ground ball going to be a base hit for Hill into right. And I thought Madden's point of view on that was right on, to have the off days in August, commonly known as the dog days of the season in August, when it all seems to catch up with you. The long spring training, the long season, the summer, and there you are in August. And he likes the idea of having those days off to regroup and regenerate there, and then hit September strong.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more, because you know this team's going to be in the hunt. They're going to be right in the middle of the race. And when you get to September, there's an adrenaline rush. There's an adrenaline rush when you're playing the American League East teams, or any team for that matter, in September, you know, where watching the scoreboard, seeing what Boston's doing and Baltimore's doing, at the same time taking care of your own business. And there's just another level of concentration that you go to during those types of runs. So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, well, it's sometimes difficult to generate that excitement in August. You get into September and you're in the race. You can't wait to get to the ballpark.
Yep.
0-2 the count to Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt, just 25 years old. He is the centerpiece of this Arizona franchise now. A ground ball. Escobar out at second, and that's the only one they're going to get. Escobar to Zobrist. Ball not hit hard enough for anything but that. And Escobar made a nice throw to get Hill at second at that.
Yeah, well, number one, like you said, it wasn't hit that hard. He had to move to his right, and with Hill bearing down on second, you got to get rid of that ball in a hurry. There's no time to waste. That's something that, you know, we've seen the growth between those two. Escobar and over there with Ben Zobrist at second base, that has become the tandem up the middle, and they have been shining brightly.
Eric Chavez, the DH, it takes a pitch low. Chavez now at 298. An oblique issue for a time earlier this year. He's been very good with that bat for the Diamondbacks. 2-0. Sixteenth year for Eric Chavez. Chavez the last couple of years in the American League with the Yankees. 2-1. It's a long time with Oakland, coming up with Oakland in '98. He lives in the Phoenix area at Scottsdale, so coming back to the Diamondbacks, he's back home. One on, one out. And there's ball 3. Two runs, 4 hits for the Rays. No runs, 2 hits for Arizona. And the pitch is too low. Fastball. Put 2 men on with 1 out in the 4th.
Well, this is the last thing that you want to do is hand out free base runners, and Fox Tracks actually liked that pitch. That ball appeared to be down. You can see that ball crosses right at the shin.
Well, Martin Prado will be the hitter. Prado's been swinging a pretty good bat lately. His average coming into the game, 263. He actually has hit over 300 against lefties. Against right-handers, under 250 coming into this game.
What Roberto wants to do here is get him to smother the ball right in this very good infield defense. Get a double play, get out of this inning.
Keeps the ball down and picks up strike 2.
I think that's exactly what Prado is thinking. That ball coming out of the hand is down. He knows, boy, swing at that, I'm going to pound it right into the ground. You're going to have to swing now, though.
Starts to go, and he checked in time. It was that changeup. Auto coming to the Diamondbacks in the big deal. The Atlanta Braves. That was part of the Justin Upton trade. Ground ball, second base. Sobris Escobar 1. First base 2. Hernandez throws another double play ground ball right there. Second 4-6-3 of the night. And the Diamondbacks are out in the 4th inning with the Rays holding a 2-0 lead. that margin. Be sure and tune in tomorrow night for the Wednesday night showdown when the Rays take on the Diamondbacks. Sponsored by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. We'll be with you at 6:30 tomorrow when Jeremy Hellickson takes his 10-3 record to the mound against left-hander Wade Miley, 7-8. And hey, that's another. I guess technically it's not Web Wednesday anymore, is it?
I think that's the moniker we go with. I will say this. You got to admit, in the last month and a half, the fans have stepped it up.
Yep.
They've stepped it up. They've
demanded.
They've answered the call, though.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have one of those going tomorrow night. The second game and the final game of this two-game set here against the Diamondbacks. Giants in over the weekend. But tomorrow night, your questions ready. Hot shot off the bat of Joyce. Pennington makes a very nice play. That ball was scalded.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, it was. Pennington with a nice dive, but how about the strong throw? That ball just blasted out of his arm, flat-footed, to get Joyce. Got him shaded up the middle. Take a look at this.
Impressive. The Diamondbacks really like what they have on the infield. With Hill at second, Goldschmidt at first, and Pennington and Prado at short and third. Molina fouls it back. One well out of play up the right field side. Molina on the off-speed pitch pops it up, foul ball, and that ball into and out of the dugout. That ball just across the railing. Nieves chasing it over there, but could not come up with it.
Well, if he could have gotten there a little bit sooner, this ball was not that far inside the railing. But those are tough plays, especially when you're going over to the visitor's side. Not the visitors, but the opposing team.
Red Sox have added another run against Joe Saunders and the Seattle Mariners up at Fenway. Molina's out on the changeup. So strikeout number 3, and all 3 have come on the changeup. It's 6-1 Boston. Ellsbury and Pedroia have been home runs in that game for the Red Sox.
Now this has emerged as the key pitch for Ian Kennedy tonight. That changeup, he has thrown a number of very good ones, picking up at least at this count 3 strikeouts so far on that particular pitch.
Fidel Escobar looks at a pitch too low. Now a drive to the opposite field, deep to right, hard to the wall. That's gone. Opposite field home run for Escobar. And the Rays make it 3-0. Home run number 8 for Escobar.
Now Dwayne, we've talked about Yunel Escobar for being an athletic shortstop. He is a big, strong guy. Has that linebacker type build. And so he gets into this pitch right here by Kennedy. Ball ends up middle, and he gets right behind it and just destroys this thing opposite field.
Desmond Jennings. Curveball, he takes that one for strike 1. 18th home run given up by Kennedy, and number 8 on the year for the Rays shortstop. Curveball, and that's fouled away, out of play. Rays have hit 119 home runs now. They came into the game 6th in the American League in home runs and 5th in runs scored. And that's cut and a miss on the 0-2 fastball. Jennings strikes out. Rays get a run, however, in the 4th inning to extend their lead. The opposite field home run by Hernandez, and the Rays now lead 3-0. Time for the Just for Men mustache and beard. Play like a champ. Kirk Gibson, 2011 National League Manager of the Year and the National League MVP with the Dodgers in 1988. No wonder he went to the Dodgers as a free agent in 1988 and led that club to the World Championship. Jason Kubel. 1 ball, no strikes.
1984, Dwayne. 1984, I had a Detroit Tiger Kirk Gibson jersey made. Number 23. That was the year that the Tigers got off to that start. They went 35-5 out of the gate. Kidding me?
Yep. That caught your attention.
Yes, well. Yeah, it did.
Absolutely.
Being in Northeast Ohio and watching the Indians not ever get off to a start even remotely close to that, yes, 35-5 from Detroit grabs you a little bit.
That caught a lot of folks' attention, I'll tell you that year. I mean, they had a club that just seemed impossible to beat.
Yeah.
That kind of start, that kind of talent. Foul back. 3-2. But who could forget the home run that Kirk Gibson hit off Dennis Eckersley in the first game of the World Series that year. And that really set the tone. They won the World Series in 5 games. Kubel lifts the fly ball deep to left on the track, and Joyce makes the catch there. Pinch hit game-winning home run by Kirk Gibson off Dennis Eckersley. One of those iconic moments in the history of this game. And there's Steve Sachs, who was a teammate. In fact, he was on deck and one of the Dodgers to greet Gibson at the plate after that historic home run. And Steve Sachs, now the first base coach for Gibson here with the Diamondbacks.
See, it always pays to be a good teammate. Be the first guy out there to shake hands, and then the next thing you know, they bring you on as a coach.
chopper. Maloney with the flip to Roberto Hernandez, and Will Nieves is out number 2. Now Sachs went on to play for the Yankees after the Dodgers and do a little broadcast work, and now coaching the Diamondbacks.
Kurt Gibson, former teammate Alan Trammell, his bench coach.
Yep.
Longtime Diamondback Matt Williams down at third base.
Fly ball by Eaton, deep to right. Myers in front of the wall. Boy, Eaton gave that one a ride. A couple steps left, and Myers made the grab. Bottom of the 5th coming, 3-0 Tampa Bay.
Tickets for kids 14 and under includes tickets out here in the outfield. There's also the TBT party deck and upper deck reserve. There's a little special section too, guys, where you can go right above me. It's the 200 level. They call it the press level reserve seating. People complain to us, or at least me all the time, about how much they miss our coverage when they're out at the ballpark. Well, here's my secret. There's actually monitors up in that 200 level, so you can kind of watch the game and check out the replays if you want to. Those are also available. Here's the deal. You buy one adult ticket, and then as many as 3 children, 14 and under, can get a ticket with you for $2. $2 to see a Rays baseball game tomorrow against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Go to raysbaseball.com. Also, parking is free for people with 4 or more in their vehicle. Unbelievable deal tomorrow, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, that's the best deal in captivity. No question about that. In all of civilization when it comes to entertainment. Live entertainment.
Yeah.
That deal, it's the best of all time.
Then get out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what an opportunity. Wow. Hey, by the way, Rick Odioso, our esteemed colleague and statistician here, has done a little extra work on the 1945 Cubs. You were concerned that they'd played 32 games in 31 days?
Yes.
All right. Great stuff on that. The 1945 Cubs in July played 9 doubleheaders in July and actually had 8 off days.
Oh, come on.
Think about that for a moment.
So they played 32 games in 23 days.
Line drive off the bat of Zobrist. That ball's going to go to the wall, and Ben's going to go to second, hustling his way in with a stand-up double. Ben's second hit tonight. Leadoff double, and the Rays have an instant threat. The answer to your question is yes. In fact, they had played 32 games. By the 29th of July, they took the 30th and 31st off.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
There's more.
No.
Yeah. Zobrist at second here with Evan Longoria up and a chance to add to this 3-0 lead. First pitch is a strike. The All-Star game that year, by the way, was canceled, but they still took an All-Star break
In July.
Yeah, so they still had a 3-day break.
And the 2 days at the end.
Pitch inside, and Hank Wise won 8 games that month and lost 1. He made 9 starts in the month. 8 complete games. He was 8-1 with a 1.84 ERA. How about that?
Wow.
You can't make that stuff up.
No. Nope. 9 starts.
Yeah. 8-1 with a 184 and 8 complete games. Big cut and a miss by Evan. 2-2. James Loney on deck. There's really nothing to be said.
That's I'm thinking, and it's just I'm dumbfounded.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Pitch in on Evan, and he fouls it back. Rays got 2 in the first, another run in the 4th on the Escobar home run. And a take of a pitch low. The count is full. Kennedy up to 80 pitches now. Foul. And one more thing. After going 8-1 in July, 9 starts, 8 complete games, Wise was 22-10 for the year in only 34 starts. 278 innings.
And 9 of them came in 1 run.
That's right.
Jeez. He was on pace for 54 starts.
Oh, you didn't want to push him. 3-2 now to Longoria.
Well, watching innings even back then. 278.
Cut and a miss. So Evan is the first out. Strikeout number 5 for Kennedy. So the Rays, the relevance of all that, the Rays having a great month of July right here. And in the company of that team. 41 Yankees, 45 Cubs, and the Rays right in the middle of both of them right now.
When you see what this team has done, you know, starting pitching has been tremendous. The bullpen's been very good. The defense has been outstanding. And they've continued to score runs and get production from a lot of different guys. So, I mean, if you're doing all those things consistently, you put yourself at least in a position to be in the game every night. And more times than not, way more times than not, they're able to seal the deal.
0-1 the count to Loney. He gave the Rays a run with an RBI double in the first. Tapper foul. 0-2. Curveball. It's Tony Sipp. Might remember him from his time with the Cleveland Indians. Now pitching out of the Diamondbacks bullpen. Rays in the bottom half of inning 5. They've had base runners on in every inning, scoring 2 in the first and 1 in the fourth, and a man in scoring position here in the 5th inning. And Zobrist picking up his 24th double. Strike 3 called on the inside edge. Only you look back at Ron Culpa as he departs.
And that's a borderline fastball there by Kennedy. You'll see him just rip this ball in there right to the top of the zone. Very, very close. And Culpa very adamant with his call.
Loney seemed to say, you were a lot more convinced than I was that that was a strike. Now Will Myers with 2 outs and that base runner still at second. Will had a base hit in the 3rd to extend his hitting streak to 11. Pulls away from the pitch in. Mariners batting in the 6th, trailing the Red Sox 6-1. Last time we looked, the Mariners were going to have Masashi Iwakuma pitch tomorrow, and I think King Felix Hernandez slated to pitch the next game against the Red Sox following Iwakuma. 3-0 count here to Myers. And Luke Scott is on deck. Myers takes ball 4. First and second, 2 outs. And the left-handed bat of Luke Scott due up. They have Sip in the bullpen. Pitching coach heads to the hill. Charles Nagy. So 2 men on, 2 men out. Reminder, fans, thanks to you, we've sold out the Papa John's bullpen box for the remainder of the 2013 season. To find out about other great group outing opportunities at Tropicana Field, contact Group Sales at 855-GROUP-TB or email groupsales@raysbaseball.com. Papa John's bullpen box sold out for the rest of the year. Well, Luke Scott, he hit the ball hard in the 3rd inning, made a bid to get it to the wall toward the right field corner, only to have Parra reach up and make a great catch. Luke again looking for his first hit of the game, and the pitch bounding away. There's a throw back to second base on the trailing runner, and Myers is in safely there with Zobrist advancing to 3rd.
And a risky throw there by Will Nieves for this reason. That ball bounds away. There's no way that he's going to be able to get Will Myers out at second base. He throws his flat-footed, and this ball bounces awfully close to Will. This could have very easily just clipped him as he goes sliding into second base and bounded out into the outfield, which obviously would have then allowed the Rays to add another run. So a risky throw there.
Now both men in scoring position. Fastball too close to Scott, 2-0. 3-0. Matt Joyce is on deck. And a hot shot foul down toward the bullpen. Look out, fellas. All bounding around down there. Gomes down there. Yeah, you don't want any injuries sitting around in the bullpen.
No. Well, the way he described it, he said chest, chin. Ramos in the forearm. Pristine baseball.
We're going to have to move Scott Kersey down on the far end of that bench to protect the rest of the bullpen like the good old days. Foul back by Luke Scott. So you'll see another 3-2 pitch. Zobrist doubled. He's now at third. Myers walked. He moved to second on the wild pitch. 2 outs, 3-2 the count to Luke. And a cut to miss. He strikes out on the off-speed pitch, and the Rays leave 2 men in scoring position. We're through 5. 3-0 Rays. He's 5 quality innings, allowing the Diamondbacks only a couple of hits and a walk, no runs, and a couple strikeouts. Rays struck early. Ben Zobrist singled home Desmond Jennings, and he scored on the James Loney 2-base hit. Yunel Escobar went to the opposite field with his 8th home run of the year in the 4th. As we go to the 6th, the Rays lead 3-0. Roberto Hernandez starts the inning with a strike call. Cliff Pennington leads it off. He's the number 9 hitter. Pennington, Parra, and Hill due up. Ground ball by the mound, and that's going to go through into center field. So leadoff single in the 6th. Get ready, fans, for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. Fox Sports 1 coming August 17th. Three hits collected by Arizona. And here's Parra, the right fielder, swinging and missing. Roto Parra been hit by a pitch and is grounded out to first. Chris Davis has hit his 38th home run of the year. Came with a runner on, and Baltimore leads Houston in Baltimore in the bottom of the 6th inning. Liner into left. Joyce closes, making the catch. That retires Parra.
Number 2, Aaron Hill.
Action in the bullpen. Will Harris throwing down the left field line as Aaron Hill steps in. Popped it up. Hernandez, and now Molina in fair territory. Hernandez backing out of the way and taking a seat just to watch and admire that catch by Molina.
Jose Molina's like, don't doubt me. I got this little basket catch. This ball not hit that high at all, and Jose Molina immediately takes charge. Doesn't even flip himself around, and Roberto Hernandez.
Two gone. Just get up. What are you doing down there?
That look was priceless.
I want to know the count to Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt, nothing of 2 on the night. Foul ball. 1-1. Walking over that fine play by Molina. To stay on the mound next time. It's a 2-1 count. Hernandez hit a man, gave up a base hit in the first, threw a double play ball, retired the sign and order in the 2nd and 3rd innings. Gave up a leadoff single in the 4th, threw a double play ball, got the side 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. And after the leadoff single by Pennington in the 6th inning, Parra has lined to left, and Hill popped out to Molina. So Goldschmidt up here with a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Hernandez has had very good movement tonight, and for the most part, he's done a great job of keeping the ball down, whether it be the fastball or the changeup. He has been working the bottom 3rd of the zone and even a little bit further down than that when he gets ahead.
Fly ball right field. On the run, Myers still on the move. He gets there. Will Myers runs it down. Straight line toward the foul line. Goldschmidt is the 3rd out of the inning. Will Myers on his horse. Bottom of the 6th coming. 3-0 Rays. for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Elysium, from the director of District 9, in theaters August 9th. Will Harris, the new pitcher. Matt Joyce to lead off the home half of the 6th inning. He and Kennedy worked 5, gave up 3 runs, 6 hits, and now Harris makes his 33rd appearance. Bullpen scattering again, not hanging around this time.
No. They got banged up last time. I got to take any chances here. No trust.
2-1.
Hijinks.
Tell you, they got to get Scott Kersey down there, the enforcer, the protector.
You see now he's more of in the physically he's more in that general type role, you know, from behind. Don't want to mess with him. Kind of leading the troops from there. Stan Borowski joining him. You have a feeling too, if that ball was dribbled down there, those guys were going to run off.
It's a hot shot. Look out. And the catch made that time. Well, the 3rd time's the charm. The bullpen was scattering in a hurry. Standing ovation by Joel Peralta there.
Oh, that was outstanding. That was a true rocket and a great backhand grab here. The boys go diving.
And Harris walks Matt Joyce. Here it is again. Watch our guys.
That is tremendous.
Earned the right to have Joel Peralta sit next to him now. Well, the bullpen not used to having a line drive hit that hard if they're involved in any of that.
No.
They've been so good all year, particularly the last couple of months. There goes Joyce, pitch hit on the ground, right side, going to go through. Out of the reach of Hill, and Matt's going to go to 3rd. Hill broke to cover 2nd and could not get back there in time. Molina has a base hit.
You never know with the Rays, but that was certainly looked like a perfectly executed hit and run. You got Joyce running, second baseman Hill covering, and then Molina gets a ball away and just dribbles it to the right side. But because of the positioning, he's able to get it out into right field. Hill cannot make his way back to make the play. And the Rays here in business in the 6th.
Goes 1st and 3rd with nobody out for Escobar. Well, Harris, who came into this game in relief of Kennedy with some good numbers, and the Rays have an immediate threat against him. Harris originally with the Colorado Rockies. Went to school at LSU. Escobar takes the pitch high. 1 ball, no strikes. Breaking ball. Curveball and a called strike to Escobar. 1-1. fastball, and it's lifted into right. Parra has a very good arm. Joyce will tag. The throw to the plate. It's going to be up the line. The run scores as that throw skips past Davis. Backed up by the pitcher Harris, and the Rays add a run to make it 4-0 on the fly ball by Escobar.
Now Parra's going to sell out and try to get Joyce at the plate, and it was a very strong arm, but up the line, and that allowed Matt Joyce to sneak in through the back door.
Molina now at second base, the top of the order. Pitch is a strike. Two. Catching the outside part of the plate. Cut and a miss. Fastball, and Jennings is out on strikes for the second time in this game. Two outs for Ben Zobrist. Harris had Tommy John surgery back in 2009 and had a microfracture to address a problem with that elbow, along with the Tommy John surgery procedure to address that fracture. That is complicated. Combination of those. A 1-ball, no strike count to Ben. Rays with a run off Harris. Kennedy gave up 3 in the 5 innings he worked. Two balls and no strikes.
Well, the Rays just not content to stand pat, and they have just continued as this game has moved along. Not in big chunks, but continue to add pressure. These 4 runs continue to add on.
And it gets away. Over to third goes Molina. Down to first goes Zobrist. So Molina moves up. Wild pitch allowing Molina to go to third on the walk to Zobrist. And here's Evan Longoria. 0 for 3 with an 11-game hitting streak right now. And the first pitch is a curveball he takes for a strike. Inside. 1-1. Well, the other thing we've seen consistently with the Rays this year, certainly lately, but really all season, they don't give up any at bats.
Yeah, very rarely.
Yeah, I mean,
very rarely.
Right there, engaged all the time. ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, and just because a guy goes up and swings at the first pitch and hits a ground ball to short, that's not giving up in a bat. That's having a plan. The guy, just sometimes you miss. Sometimes you miss. But overall, we see the Rays putting good at-bats on pitchers all the time, always making them work. And because they've got so many productive hitters through that lineup, you'll wear a pitcher out mentally as much as physically as they work their way up and down.
Long one down the left field side, but it's going to pull foul and out of play. And a nice grab right there by an Evan Longoria fan. Evan delivers a souvenir to one of his fans.
Nice. Bare hand.
This one is down 2-2. Well, that's a great catch down there in the left field corner.
Did he drop the pen? I think he had to have dropped the pen. Drop the pen, catch up like a wide receiver up here. Those big mitts on him.
Three and two.
Well, here you go. This is another one of those at-bats. Evan Longoria fouling off some tough pitches, taking some close ones. He's not worked the count full.
Three, 2 and a little chopper foul. We'll see another 3-2 pitch. Popped up on the right side. Goldschmidt, there the coaching box takes care of it. The Rays are out in the 6th. They pick up a run. It's 4-0 Tampa Bay on to the 7th.
Couple of tough line drives earlier in the game. Do you feel like you're back in the good graces? You redeem yourself in that last one?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Oh, boys don't like me down here right now.
Who was giving you the hardest time?
Peralta and Rodney.
Peralta and Rodney? But usually you're pretty solid with those plays. Was it just a tough night today?
Tough night. A lot of sunflower seeds. Good stuff. Yep.
Pretty good line drive, though. We're seeing the line drive catch right now. Everybody seemed to give you a standing ovation, so at least you feel good about that one, huh?
It's good. I appreciate it.
All right, RJ, keep it up. You got a serious guys to protect down here. It's very focused, guys. Very focused down here in the bullpen. Back to you.
Yeah, we know that's true. It's very focused in the bullpen. Almost as focused as it is there in the booth. Eric Chavez Leads off the 7th inning, and the pitch is a strike. Not taking anything for granted. Self-critical. Don't think he's redeemed quite yet. But he made a great play, though.
Oh, he sure did.
Ground ball to second. Zobrist handles that one away.
You know, I'll tell you one thing. Going back to what Todd was talking about, focus in the bullpen. There were a lot of years where after I would start a game, I would go hang down in the bullpen and just watch a couple innings from down there with the guys. And it's funny because you get to a certain part of the game, and all of a sudden, a lot of the hijinks start to go away. Guys really start to lock it in. They start to see where the opposing team is in the lineup, the inning.
Yep.
Where are my guys at? Where a lot of guys have an idea of what part of the lineup they may face in certain situations, and it really does start to take a serious tone as the game moves into the 6th, 7th. Obviously, the latter part of the game, the guys get locked in a hurry.
Yeah, and with good reason in terms of what they do earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to stay locked in every pitch of every game, every inning, every night. You couldn't do it.
No. And that's what's funny. It's funny you say that, Dwayne, because that is what you do in the playoffs. And when you get an opportunity to be a part of the playoffs, play that time of year, you say to yourself, there's no way that I could play the regular season like this. You'd be burnt out by June.
Yep.
And that's right. So that's why you see the guys, especially the later inning guys, they'll be a little bit looser, early on.
Yeah.
And then you hit the 6th or 7th once they get into their routine, loosening up their arm, getting mentally focused, and then it becomes, that's when they lock it in. And that's when there's no more screwing around. But that's funny. You're right. You could not do that all game long for 162. You'd be in a straitjacket. Padded walls.
Jason Kubel, and the pitch is down. 1 ball, no strikes. So many ways to go. Cut and the miss. 1-1 here in the top of the 7th. And the Rays will crisscross with the shift. Longoria going to the first base side of second. Escobar back on the shortstop side. Ground ball right there is Evan. Just moved over and time to make the play. 1-2-3. Bottom of the 7th coming. 4-0 Tampa Bay. Our family fun days presented by the Tampa Bay Times. And Sunday, August 4th, the Rays take on the Giants. Kids 14 and under receive a Rays backpack presented by Fresh for Florida Kids while supplies last. And don't miss the matching lunchbox. Comes up August 18th. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com. Third pitcher of the game for Arizona, Tony Sipp, comes on.
You can see right there, Tony Sipp, left-handed specialist. 46th game, 30 innings, 35 strikeouts.
James Loney to face the lefty. Pitch is down. Prado well off the bag at third base. The infield pulled around a bit for Loney, and the outfield pretty much straight away. Eaton in center, a couple steps toward the left center side of center. James Loney doesn't make a lot of difference, lefty righty. 337 against lefties. Strike on the corner. 2-1. Sipp hits that spot again with a fastball on the inside edge. 2-2. And strike three. He came right back with it. Another fastball.
And you saw the bat flip there by James Loney. You remember he was called out on strikes on his last at bat on a fastball that was up and in borderline. And this one he's thinking down. And right there again, another borderline pitch. This one below the knees. He's like, you got to be kidding me. You get me at the letters, now you get me at the kneecaps. Frustrating couple of at-bats.
Will Myers. Pitch in the dirt. So Kennedy, Harris, and Sipp. 3 runs off Kennedy in 5 innings. 1 run off Will Harris in 1 inning. It's now 2-0. Sipp tries to hit that edge and misses. 3 balls, no strikes to Myers.
Yeah, you kind of wondered how the Rays were going to perform in this game. A tough, grueling trip where it ended up being a 4-city trip. Obviously, the game last night delayed by rain. The team gets back late. And a great day here so far. 4-0 lead. What about Roberto Hernandez and how quietly he's put together a very, very good 7 innings, on top of the fact that there's been talk that the Rays contemplating going to a 4-man rotation because of the off days, and Roberto Hernandez is saying, no, what about me? And what do you do now?
And that pitch outside, Myers draws his 2nd walk of the night. Yeah, a lot of things in the air right now in 2 or 3 different areas.
And he's making the case that, hey, listen, I'd like to stay in that rotation. 7 shutouts so far. Just the 3 hits. And using his defense tonight, his strikeout total this year has been higher than, any time in his career. More strikeouts, more swings and misses. But he's best when he pitches like he does tonight. Early contact, use defense.
Yeah, and he's got the ground ball total up to about 65% now in that neighborhood.
Yep. And his career's even higher. He's continuing to try. But what's been taken away from that? The strikeouts. Yep. And it's nice to be able to go get him every now and then, but that's overall not his game. His game is wear out the infield.
1-0 the count to Luke Scott. Cut and a miss.
I think ultimately you're going to have to selectively skip somebody with these off days the way they're set up. You know, Monday, Thursday, Monday, Thursday. What you certainly don't want is guys that are in good rhythm, have been overpowering and dominating because of those off days being so close. You know, going a week in between starts. It's just too much. Try to keep everybody as close to on their 5th day. It's going to be almost impossible. But you do the best you can to keep them in good rhythm because that's the way they've been performing.
Yeah, and that's a real challenge with that many days off to go into September. You know, it'd be nice to give a guy a breather here. Rowe up in the bullpen now. Most recently up here with the Diamondbacks. Foul back 2-2. You have to be very careful about that between giving somebody in the rotation a little break, but then keeping them in their normal routine.
Yeah. And you give them a day here and a day there. I know the one guy that's going to fight for every 5th. And well, they all are. Yeah. But you know that David Price is really going to be fighting for that every 5th because he's saying, look, I'm fresh. I missed a lot of time. My innings are low. You can ride me out.
Popped up, foul. That's going to drift into the seats.
But you know that Joe Madden, Jim Hickey have sat down already with the calendar and started putting it together. And they may already know what they're going to do.
Yeah, and you know, they may have more than one plan. You know, they're going to have 2 or 3 scenarios they've discussed.
I would be shocked if they didn't have more than one, unless they've already made their minds up. You just don't know. But, you know, no stone goes unturned in this organization and trying to figure out a way to maximize the performance of this club.
Scott has worked the count full for the 2nd time tonight. And ball 4. So the Rays with a couple of walks put 2 men on base here in the 7th inning. Todd has more on this pitching situation. Todd, what do you have?
Yeah, well, it probably won't be in the dozen days with all the days off, but there will be another factor in the rotation soon thereafter, and that is Alex Cobb. Cobb today threw 45 pitches in a simulated game in Port Charlotte, Florida. 3 innings worth, sat down in between every 15 pitches. He will have a real rehab start Saturday in Port Charlotte, and they think that's probably going to be the first of 2 rehab starts. Today, Cobb wore just a little cover on his finger. It's on his index finger of his pitching hand. So he just wore a little cover there on the tip of his finger. So obviously he won't be able to wear that in a real game. Instead, it's probably better off because there are some pitches he didn't really have a good feel for today. But first step back today, simulated game. Next step back Saturday, rehab game. Maybe one more after that, we'll see. But I would think Alex Cobb certainly will be a factor sometime in the month of August in the Rays rotation, guys.
And the Rays really fortunate that they're in a position where they don't even have to think remotely about pushing the situation for Alex Cobb. They can do absolutely the best thing for him and ultimately long-term for the club.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if that turns out to be true, that's a pretty aggressive timetable. You know, throw a simulated game at 45 pitches and then just a couple of rehab starts and be ready to go again. And I think the concern now, you're not concerned about Alex Cobb and his head. You know, he said, listen, I have no fear about going out there and pitching to big league hitters or any hitters for that matter. But it would be that blister. And you want to make sure that thing does not flare up again because you just can't pitch effectively with that thing being flared up.
If you do, it turns out to be a lingering situation.
Right.
So make sure that's in the rearview mirror.
While you can. You've got the horses that are getting the job done now on top of the off days, so there's absolutely no reason to push the envelope with Alex.
Ground ball. Picked up there by Hill. Pennington 1 over to Goldschmidt for 2. Joyce grounds into the 4-6-3 double play. We'll go to the 8th, 4-0 Tampa Bay. Back at Tropicana Field, the Rays in the first game of a 5-game interleague homestand. 2 with the Diamondbacks and 3 with the San Francisco Giants. The Rays hold a 4-0 lead. And they send Roberto Hernandez out here to open the 8th inning. Roberto's retired 6 in a row. And throws a first pitch strike to Will Nieves.
We talked about Hernandez using his defense and a lot of early in the count outs, and just 77 pitches through the first 7 innings.
See Sam Fold in left field defensively with the Rays leading here late in the game.
Looking to add to that winning percentage.
Indeed. Cut and a miss. Tag, and Nieves is out number 1 and strikeout number 3 on the night.
Again, Roberto Hernandez, very efficient and very good command tonight. The ball down in the zone, using his defense, getting a couple of double play balls. There was a big one off the bat of Paul Goldschmidt first inning. He's just been moving the ball around the zone. Nice play there by Will Myers. But overall, just a very efficient job so far by Roberto Hernandez. Very quietly done.
There you go. Only 1 walk to go with those 3 strikeouts. 1-1. Strike. 1-2. Fouled out of play. Ball 2 strikes. We'll be back tomorrow with the second game of this 2-game set. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. Pre-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers, featuring plays of the month. Wave and a miss, and Eaton is out on strikes. Changeup. couple of those employed to get to the third strike tonight by Hernandez.
That's the thing, too. When he has gone a little bit deeper into a count, he's made great pitches. Previous pitch was a fastball middle in that he takes a swing on and fouls it off. Eden fouls it off. He goes right back out away with the changeup. Sequencing has been very, very good also.
Pennington fouls it. Strike one. Zach Wheeler had a no-hitter going for the Mets against the Marlins into the 7th inning. But the Marlins scored a couple to tie that game, and now the Mets are threatening in the 8th. It's a 2-2 ball game. Here the Rays lead 4-0. Red Sox continue to lead the Mariners 6-1 in the bottom of the 7th at Fenway. Just missed in a bit. 1-1. Yankees play the Dodgers tonight in Los Angeles. That's a strike to Pennington. 1-2. The Orioles home against Houston. Astros hitting in the 8th, with Baltimore leading that game 4-3. Strike 3 call. Fastball on the inside corner. Roberto Hernandez strikes out the side in the 8th. 1-2-3 to the Diamondbacks, and the Rays lead 4-0.
On along with Davey Martinez, our AT&T Twitter poll question. Coming off the emotional win last night in Boston and the 8-2 road trip, were you concerned about a letdown? Honestly, that's what we're asking. Hashtag TB1 yes, hashtag TB2 no. Right now, obviously, it looks like there should be no concern for the letdown, and we'll have the results in our Rays Live postgame show. Tweet those votes, by the way, to @SunSportsRays. We'll hear from the Rays starter Roberto Hernandez, also Joe Maddon's press conference, Barry LeBrock gathering interviews from the clubhouse. All that coming up right after the game on the Rays Live postgame show presented by Checkers. Guys, back to you.
All right. Chaz Rowe, pitcher number 4 in the game here. Oh no, the count to Molina. Base hit off the bat of Molina into right. Haro with the pickup, and Molina is 2 for 4. So the Rays put the leadoff man aboard in the 8th. Let's take a look at our Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile. Well, the Rays have that active series winning streak going at 11. Cardinals tops with 14. The Rays have now won 11 consecutive series without losing a series. The game last night, a one-game series, which defies verbal logic, but counts as a series nevertheless.
That was their first ever.
High drive and a base hit for Escobar. Singles by Molina and Escobar, putting the first two men aboard.
Well, this is to illustrate the point. We talk about this Rays lineup, a lot of production all the way up and down. Here it is, your 8 and 9 hole hitters to lead off in the bottom of the 8th, and base hit, base hit. There are just no dead spots in this Rays lineup. Everybody dangerous, everybody capable of coming through. No chance for a pitcher to take his breath.
Chaz Rowe just joined the club Sunday, made his major league debut in a game against the Mets. Pitch wide, 1-0. Rowe spent last year with the independent Laredo Lemurs.
What was that team's name, D-Wayne?
The Laredo Lemurs. A little pop. And they get the force at second on the one hop. So Molina goes to third and Escobar forced at second.
Always love those stories of guys that come out of independent baseball. Because you got to figure your odds are long. I mean, you're not affiliated with any team. You're not in the minor leagues anywhere. You're in an independent league, and you know who knows what kind of facilities you're playing in. But yet, your love of the game, you just continue to persevere, open a couple of eyes. Next year, you find yourself in the big leagues.
Yeah, he had been in the Rockies and the Mariners organization going back to 05 through 11, then independent ball last year, and now making his major league debut this year.
Minor leagues with affiliates, you don't get there. You go to independent ball, next year you're there. Beautiful thing.
Zobrist taking it the other way. That's in there for a base hit, backhanded by Kubel. Molina scores a double for Zobrist. Into third goes Jennings, and the Rays make it 5-0. Second double of the night for Zobrist. So Molina, who opened with a base hit, scores.
Speaking of beautiful things, Ben Zobrist taking this pitch away into left field, deep. I'll tell you one thing that we have seen tonight is the Arizona Diamondback outfielders can throw the baseball.
The Rays, with 3 hits in this inning, they have 10 hits on the night. And the pitch to Longoria is a strike. Zobrist second, Jennings third. Molina opened with a base hit. Escobar singled. Jennings hit into the one-hop pop force at second. Longoria with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Two. Newman drove the ball to the wall in center field in the third. 0 for 4 with a run scored when he reached on a fielder's choice. David Hernandez down in the bullpen for the Diamondbacks. Having a little bit of that one foul. Rays with 2 in the first, single runs in the 4th, 6th, and another one in the 8th. And Longoria is out on strikes. Second out of the 8th. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for the Wednesday night showdown as the Rays take on the Diamondbacks, sponsored by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. And tomorrow, another Ask the Announcers. Tweet us your questions at Sun Sports Rays, hashtag AskRays. James Loney. Slider inside. Loney doubled in a run in the first inning. He's had a couple of frustrating at-bats in the 5th and 7th. Pitch away. 2-0. You saw that shot of Evan. He's gone through this stretch here where he's had an 11-game hitting streak, but through most of that streak he has not seen the baseball the way he'd like to.
No, we've seen that with different swings. We saw even the one that he struck out on, the breaking ball, just a half swing. It's just not all clicking right now for Evan. And you know what? Kudos to him for staying in there and being able to extend this streak and get it to 11 games, but it has not been the clean streak that you would expect from Evan Longoria, and the frustration, I'm sure, is growing.
That pitch is inside. 3-1.
We talked about him early in the year. What was so impressive about the streak that he was on for the first however many months it was just the way he was taking balls. It wasn't even the swings and the contact. You could see that. But the way that he took pitches was impressive. Right now, that's not the same. And he's just going to have to work through it. That happens in a 162-game schedule.
Foul ball. 3-2 the count. Molina has scored the run. Full count. Runners at second and third, 2 away in the 8th. And Loney is out on strikes. That slider 3-2, dipping down and in. So the Rays take a 5-0 lead into the 9th. Up, brought to you by Chevron. Here it is, Wade Miley, the left-hander. Many thought, particularly in Arizona, that he should have been the Rookie of the Year a year ago. Jeremy Hellickson 10-3 on the hill for the Rays tomorrow. We'll be with you on Sun Sports beginning at 6:30 with our coverage. Red Sox have beaten Seattle 8-2. Brandon Workman goes 6 innings, strikes out 9, and picks up the win. And we go to the 9th inning. Toronto Parra. Pitch is a bit inside. 8 shutout innings of 3-hit baseball. 5 strikeouts for Roberto Hernandez. Parra, Hill, and Goldschmidt do. 2-0.
Keep working, Roberto.
Roberto out here to start the 9th. He would be looking for his 8th complete game. Last one for him was 2010. He had 4 that year. And he finds the strike zone. Retired 9 in a row. And back through the middle, base hit into center for Parra. That's his first hit.
Second baseman, Aaron Hill.
Was hit by a pitch in the first. Now 1 for 3 on the night.
Hey, ground ball, Roberto.
And Aaron Hill will be the hitter. Hill 2 out of 3. Pitch is a strike, so Roberto here working on a complete game, hoping for that and the shutout, but the Rays get Fernando Rodney up in the bullpen. Last shutout for Hernandez came against Minnesota in September of 2010. Sam Fole making the catch. That's 1 out, and it leaves him 2 outs away from another shutout.
The most dangerous hitter in this Diamondback lineup coming to the plate, Goldschmidt, and he's done a very nice job against him, and mainly it's been ball down. He has not left anything up against Goldschmidt, which will be the key for the Rays, not only today and tomorrow's game, but when the team goes out west, face them next week.
Well, he got him on a double play ball back in the first and starts him with a fastball. He takes it for a strike. Hernandez with 7 complete games, 3 shutouts in his career. Foul ball. Puts him in the batter's box and rolls toward the mound. Swing and a miss. Goldschmidt out on strikes, and he's 1 out away from going the distance and pitching a shutout tonight.
Again, down, down, down. That has been the name of the game. That will always be the name of the game for Hernandez. The ball up tends to flatten out. The ball down has that good late life, and he's been down there all night.
Here's Eric Chavez. The pitch, he swings, and it's a high fly ball deep to right field toward the corner, and that ball is gone. It hits the foul pole and is a 2-run home run. So Chavez on the first pitch with 2 outs in the 9th inning. hits his 8th home run of the year, and that's going to make it 5-2. And there goes the shutout attempt.
Chavez went down and got that pitch, got underneath it, and just hooked it right down the line. You see right here, trying to stay down, and it was down, but middle in. And he's hoping Roberto hooked foul. He did turn around right away and ask for another baseball. Get out there on the mound before Joe can come get it.
Yeah, here's Martin Prado. And he misses low with a fastball to him. 1-0, so it's 5-2. How about that? This home run hitting the foul pole last night. It was the pesky pole. The Brandon Snyder hit for Boston. The chop to third. Longoria's got it. The throw to first. The Rays win it. It's a 5-2 final as Roberto Hernandez goes the distance for the first time this year. And the Rays take game 1 of this 2-game set from the Diamondbacks. It's a 5-2 final. Roberto Hernandez will improve his record to 6-11. Kennedy, the losing pitcher, he is 3-8, 2 hours and 54 minutes the time of this game. And so the Rays win their 64th of the year to go 21 over 500 and stay a half game in front of Boston in the American League East. And for the Rays, this is 10 of 11 in interleague play. They're now 10-1 against the National League.
Taking care of business. They've had series against the Padres, the Rockies, a couple against the Marlins, now the Diamondbacks, and they've just continued to peel right through them. And this guy right here was outstanding all night long in a very subdued way. Used his defense brilliantly. A lot of early in the count contact. He kept the ball down well all night. A good mix with the fastball and the changeup primarily, and just took advantage of throwing a lot of strikes and forcing the Diamondbacks to have to swing early. Once he got ahead, he expanded the zone from time to time and saved for one, almost not even a mistake to Chavez. He just went down and got that ball, hit it out. And this is the one that would end it. And a well-deserved complete game there for Roberto Hernandez. You'd like to see him get the shutout, but regardless, a win is a win, and then everybody lining up for that pitcher's jump.
Yeah, pretty good timing by the rotation there on that jump. The complete game for Roberto Hernandez, and for the Rays, their 7th complete game as a staff. All 7 have come in the month of July. So they come away with a 5-2 win. Todd Callis standing by on the field with Roberto Hernandez right now.
Dwayne, thank you, Roberto. You see the other guys in rotation, David Price, Chris Archer, Matt Moore. Did you say it was my turn tonight?
Yeah, I'm very happy for him. I go to complete game, and today I think inning try inning, not think about complete game. I keep the ball down, get out the inning quick.
What's it mean for you? How important is it since 2010, your last complete game shutout, to get one tonight and get back in, where you get to get the final out, the 27th out?
Yeah, a long time I draw a complete game. I was very happy today for that. And the last pitch for the Chavez missed a little bit off. I can control that.
First inning, hit batter, base hit. Paul Goldschmidt's the batter. You get the double play. Did you feel like that got you going tonight?
Yeah, when that hit that guy in the second pitch with the other people base hit, I don't think about nothing. I think about keeping the ball down, making ground ball for double play. That's what I'm doing.
Does it feel great to be a part of this pitching staff right now, the way everybody's going?
Yeah, I feel very great. Everybody doing great, and that organization, very happy to.
What did you think when Chavez hit the ball? I saw your body angle. Did you think it might be hooking foul?
I think the foul ball. I can control that.
Congratulations on the complete game, Roberto.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much as Roberto Hernandez goes the distance to pick up this 5-2 victory. We'll be back in just a moment.